right, Theo, what encouraged you as you prepared the sermon?
I think it's just a good reminder to me to trust in Christ, even in situations and circumstances I don't understand. So,
Andre?
I just like how you were really highlighting the resurrection and just this painting this picture of like a family reunion and all God's people meeting that one day. That's nice.
Dave?
Yeah, that was the encouraging thing for me too. Just that party that we'll all be at one day.
Yeah, Theo, I was encouraged by the reminder of Jesus overcame death and he knows what he's doing. That's interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah, when you got to that point where Jesus took on corruption of his day and demonic powers and death itself, and yet triumph through his death and resurrection, was just highlight point of encouragement received.
I was encouraged simply by how you kind of dealt with these hard questions. You didn't like kind of move over them quickly or whatever, but you were like, seemed like you wrestled with them well, and I was encouraged by that and your answers to them.
Yeah, so I was encouraged to know that even though Jesus is the only way to life, that that's like a good thing. Like him being the way to life is a good thing. So it could have come across very much as like, he's the only way, so you just gotta deal with it. But I think you match kind of the tone of what was going on here in a helpful way. What do you think you needed to improve on? Like you're still not there in this sermon?
I think the illustrations I need to like either like tightened up or swap. So for some of them. So.
Did you have points? I just kind of.
Yeah.
Was your second point Jesus knows what he's doing? Or?
No, I like the only organizational structure that I had was like from problems to platitudes to personal faith.
Okay. I kind of got. I was looking for him, but I kind of got lost a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's a good organization.
Yeah.
It would just could have been used probably more effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like nothing egregious, but just like little things that I think would have turned your audience off. Like right up front, you're like, I got a Devo. Like no one knows what that is.
Yep. Fair.
Like you talk about Job, but you don't give like any context.
Sure.
Altar call and grammar of Greek, like nobody even knows that both those are in Greek.
Right. Yep.
Comment I have here, Theo. At one point you were talking about platitudes of, and you gave the antelope example, which I like that a lot.
Oh yeah.
So my only comment here is, I thought you could strengthen that portion if you just added some Christian platitudes.
Okay.
On top of it.
Yeah.
There's just one thing I thought.
An angel that just got his wings.
Yep.
I thought you were really engaging, but even so, there were points where it was very obvious that you were getting into your reading.
Yeah.
And at those moments, it was like, oh, no longer connecting.
Yeah.
It was like obviously you were trying to find your place there.
Yep.
You were primarily talking about like death.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got to the gospel, you said, like Jesus defeated all the forces of evil, which is true, great, amazing.
Yep.
But I was just like, oh, when did we turn from, when we heighten this so high to where it's not, like, you presented death as the problem, you made death your main idea, and then now we're talking about all these other things too.
Okay.
So I think it was a little bit more helpful to just focus on that.
Okay.
aspect there.
Okay.
And now you're not even, I mean, we can talk about them, but not
Yep.
push them as hard.
Yeah, so my first one is that while you were clearly not speaking like to no one, it also didn't feel necessarily for a significant portion of that sermon that you were preaching to us.
Yeah.
Because like you were declaring a lot of things and talking about we and us, which was nice, but it would have benefited significantly from a few moments of being like, I mean, don't you feel that?
Yeah.
There was none of this kind of like connecting, like looking at me in the eyes.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking at you. There wasn't a lot of this kind of pathos, especially when you're talking about death.
Yeah.
It would have been hugely beneficial to just like take a pause here and there and get us on your team. Andre?
Yeah, the other one was, when you started talking about the Exodus, it just almost kind of seemed a little jarring. Like,
Okay.
I'm just going on this path. And
Yep.
I thought you did pretty good, even in spite of that, in terms of like not getting caught in Exodus.
Yeah.
You know, for what it's worth. I mean, you got in
Yeah.
there and made it pretty succinct in a way.
It was risky. I don't know.
Risky business.
Yeah.
After like your intro, you start talking about like how death is the only guaranteed thing and stuff like that.
Yep.
Which was good, but
Yep.
I thought you needed to contextualize it more for college students.
Okay.
Like,
Sure.
They don't realize. I mean, they know that,
Yeah.
but they don't, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, so just contextualizing it and making that need more potent for your audience.
Yep.
Right.
Cool.
So, Theo, early on you made concession. There's no clear answer to evil in the world.
Yep.
You did your Job run,
Yep.
and then was your answer Jesus knows what he's doing?
I was trying to get like, even if you don't understand everything, you can still trust in Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was a little bit lost in that section
Yep.
maybe.
Okay.
And, maybe there was, it seemed like a little bit of a jump when you were saying, you guys know how to run the world, that part.
Yeah. Okay.
I think you put it on there, but I'm not sure. Maybe there was a step missing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I was actually going to ask
Yep.
about your concession as well.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Just practically, I noticed your mouth is probably pretty dry at the end there.
Hmm.
Like you were doing a lot of like lip smacking or something. I heard it, and I didn't want to hear it. I tried
Yeah.
not to
I
hear it,
didn't
but
want to hear it.
after
Yeah.
I heard the first one, I couldn't. So I mean, don't be afraid to drink water during
Yeah.
it, or just know when,
Yeah.
because I've done it where it ruined a moment too. So
Okay.
be wise about that.
Yeah.
He's out of his water up there though.
Yep.
Well, he drank a lot right after, so.
I thought the biblical theology of the I am thing was okay,
Okay.
but so like the content wasn't bad, but it just needed to be much more streamlined.
Okay.
Like for example, roll on like the I am in the Old Testament section. That was really, because like when you got to John, it's like you were just like, and this is like Jesus just saying I am.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like you were using like God and all this kind of stuff. Instead of like the I am is doing this, and I am, that's the way you should have rolled through that Old
Yeah.
Testament stuff. And gone quicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, what do you think you did something well? Maybe you're trying to work on it and you're like, yeah, I think I made improvement.
This sermon was one that I just needed to like get it done, honestly. Like I had a really hard time writing this sermon, so so like honestly, like last night I was just like I just need to get it out and get it all on the page.
Yeah. There you go.
So I'm like glad it like is just out, honestly.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Oh, that's surprising good. I thought your presentation was really good. I mean, your face is in the paper sometimes a lot, but you seem like you were into it and you're presenting it like it was in your heart. And I thought you did a good presentation.
yeah.
I felt like you did a really nice job of tying it up at the end for like one real clear question that's left with us, straight from the text of like, do you believe this? Because obviously there's a lot going on, but then like you just narrowed it down to that, which was really good.
Yeah, I thought you did a great job in general in setting up your message. I mean, with all the setup, like there is in the text of, so for example, even at the very beginning, you kind of started with this question, how can we hope in the face of death? That's what I'm going to talk about as Christians. And then you notched it up by saying, how can we hope in the face of death when God's the one who lets us die? That was good.
Yeah.
I thought you had a lot of use of really good and honest questions. So I think by using that, not only were you engaging, but also I think your earnestness was coming through in what you conceded not to know, and then also including all of us in the same problem. You know, we're gonna die.
Yeah.
We're all gonna have to face it, and but that was really, really well done.
I thought the way that you presented it, I mean, you just, in this story, we felt the emotions of the story, we felt the weight of the story, just because of the way that you were bringing it to us. I think you embraced it well and brought it to us.
Good. Cool.
I thought it seemed
Hold on,
like,
I'll go.
oh,
I know I got lots of critiques, but you know, I have good things to say too. I thought you did a really good job at playing with verse 22. Like, yeah, what she's saying is true, but like, don't think that what she's saying is great. Because I believe this, but you got to understand that she's kind of like, oh yeah, someday, which it would have been now. I thought you did a really good job of playing both of those sides of it. And it was very effective. Now you can go on.
yeah, I thought the way you kind of problematized Martha's like hoping in Jesus and him showing up, and then how he didn't show up, and I just thought you did that well. Could feel it.
Yep.
Yeah, again, I think you could have utilized them better, but your homiletical points, like in just walking through the story that way, I thought was like really great. But if you said them up front, obviously I know the passage a little bit more. Like, that's a genius way to go about it.
Theo, I like some of your applications. They were unique, so it was pretty engaging. For example, early on you talked about you voiced the question of why does God let bad things happen in like as a prayer to Jesus. You said, Jesus, if you love us, why do you? Anyway, that was just really thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I really enjoyed your sermon just in general. I stopped taking notes halfway through. Partially because, one, I didn't like catch on your homiletical part.
Okay.
But it was just so enjoyable, and I just like stopped taking notes and just listened.
I think at the end, especially when you were just kind of like talking to these people, I think it was just helpful to give some instructions to some of them and more instructions to other ones, and I think you understood which ones, like we talked about it before, which ones you would, and you were always, I'm willing to talk to you afterwards, which is a good thing to do as well.
Good.
Somebody's been paying attention to Chapman. So I think amongst all the other things, I thought you did a good job. You said you kind of wanted to swap out illustrations. I thought the illustration about the lady, the cleaning lady, and difficult, then realize that she's dying of cancer. Like the way you even like rolled that out, I was like, oh man. You know, like I never knew how hard it was to like sit next to somebody with cancer. So especially with college students. So I'm to like Dave's thing, like that could even be contextualized more, but that's exactly for them. Because you could go with that thing. I had to sit next to her and it was hard, and then you wove that idea because she had no hope.
Yeah.
Right? It was like, oh, okay, so now you're hitting on the hope thing. That would have been one of those key places to be like, I wonder if you ever think about death. I mean, college kids, you know.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in college, so that's that way you can tell them what most college kids are without saying you. Like, I don't know, when I was in college age, like, I never thought I was going to die.
It was the beginning of your life,
Right. Well, we all know we're gonna die, so what hope do we have? And the off ramp from that illustration is right in here. So what hope can we have? Was right back to that thing of like, oh well, I'm glad you asked that because here's what we're gonna do. It was really good, really good.
Sweet.
There we are.
Cool.